When I covered the recent House of Ashes trailer, I sadly overlooked the ad for the game's Collector's Edition that appeared at the end of it. This ad offers some interesting clues and maybe even a pretty large spoiler for late game content. While this is just a theory, of course, I want to put the strongest possible spoiler warning for the end of the video. Okay, there's a couple of obvious things first. The background image seems to be set in the same room where the monster reveals itself at the end of the trailer. Apparently the game's tagline is "All hell breaks loose," as it's featured on both the art print and the collector's box. Is this another reference to the descent of Ishtar? Because there's a part of that story where the main character, Ishtar, threatens to break open the gates of Kur, the House of Dust, and set loose all of its creatures on Earth. As an aside, personally I hope that's not the finished design of the art print, since it's just a movie-style poster, and no offense to the actress, but I feel like people would be more likely to frame a picture of the monster, or the temple's architecture, than they would a woman's face covered in blood. Hell, even the Naram Sin mask would make for a better visual to put on an art print. Okay, now for the slightly spoilery things. First, there's the Eclipse logo. This might actually tell us the exact day when the game is set. There was a lunar eclipse overnight on May 15th going into the 16th, and a solar eclipse on May 31st, both in 2003. Of course, neither of these eclipses were fully visible in the Zagros Mountains, but that's something the developers could cheat without anyone being too upset. Notably, if the game is set in May of 2003, that would put the action being somewhere between 2 weeks and a month after George Bush's famous Mission Accomplished speech, which could factor into the narrative quite logically. After all, once the initial invasion of Iraq was complete, there was huge political pressure on the US government to turn up the weapons of mass destruction that had been their justification for starting the war in the first place. This could wind up being central to explaining Rachel King, a CIA agent's presence on a Special Forces mission. The other two spoilers come, weirdly enough, from a set of stickers shown here. First, there's this scene, which shows the main cast on a statue so huge that they're all able to stand on its hand. More importantly, though, there's the sticker at the bottom right, which appears to depict a late-game Rachel, you can tell by her lack of sleeves and the fact that she's covered in blood, manning a machine gun. This seems to be a Maxim gun, an early machine gun used from the 1880s right up until the 1950s, so it's exactly the kind of weapon one would expect to find buried with an archaeological expedition from the 1940s. Will there be a scene at the end of the game where Rachel uses an old machine gun to blast a bunch of bat monsters as they rush at her out of a cave? This picture certainly suggests so. Anywho, I've been the Hidden Object Guru, thanks for watching. Special thanks to my patrons, Desire and Marissa. Join me back here for more Dark Pictures content, but until then, au revoir.